In ancient times, daughters of noble families did not learn to dance. But when I was 5, I begged my mother to hire a master dancer for me, only because I knew well that men can never resist a graceful, soft woman. So, I bathed in milk every single day. After many years, I finally nurtured myself to be as beautiful as peach blossoms. Upon reaching adulthood, I was betrothed to the Prince of Chu by imperial decree. On our wedding night, when the Prince of Chu stared at my delicate feet, unable to look away, I knew I had succeeded. In my past life, I was also betrothed and married to the Prince of Chu in this very year. After marriage, I followed every rule diligently, serving my mother-in-law with all my heart, making myself the most virtuous and sensible of all the prince's wives. Unfortunately, my gentleness and obedience did not earn my husband's affection, but only his coldness and disdain. My mother-in-law's closeness and kind treatment were also fake. She chose me to be the Princess of Chu, merely because my father was an upright and incorruptible official in court, which would lessen the emperor's suspicion of the Prince of Chu. In the end, the Prince of Chu ascended the throne as emperor, but he crowned his side consort as empress. As for me, only because I had given birth to 2 children, I barely managed to receive the title of consort Xian. Even more ridiculous, his consummation of our marriage was only accomplished under the influence of aphrodisiacs. Otherwise, he would have preferred never to touch me his entire life, unloved by my husband, and neglected and despised by him. My days in the Prince of Chu's estate were miserable. I thought heaven was kind to me for once, as I became pregnant with imperial offspring after just that one time. I thought my husband would cherish me for the sake of the child, but I was wrong again. The birth of the child only made him detest me even more. Worse still, because of the discordant relationship between us as husband and wife, the 2 children also began to dislike me and were unwilling to even get close to me, their birth mother. Finally, when I was 35, I died of depression. Perhaps heaven took pity on me, as I was actually reborn back to when I was 5 years old. For 10 years, I never stepped foot outside the house, striving to improve myself and transform myself, all to wait for the emperor's marriage decree. The moment the imperial decree arrived, since Lu Yan was destined to become the most powerful man in the world, I would not give up this power handed to me. Likewise, I would use his influence to become the most noble woman in the world. Today, the capital city of Shengjing is exceptionally lively. The emperor has decreed my marriage to Lu Yan, the Prince of Chu, to be his princess. I dressed up meticulously and stepped into the royal bridal sedan chair. From now on, I am a daughter-in-law of the imperial family. My name will be recorded in the imperial genealogy. I am the official Princess of Chu, the future crown princess, and even the position of empress to Emperor Xuanzong. I will hold on to it firmly. I don't know how much time passed, but the voice of the master of ceremonies came through.
May the prince kick open the sedan door.
My thoughts were instantly pulled back. I straightened my back. The phoenix crown made my neck ache, but I could only endure it. The sedan door opened. The master of ceremonies placed the red silk ribbon in my hand. Then, a hand with well-defined knuckles reached in. I placed my hand gently on his, feeling that his fingertips were ice cold. That was the signal of his body's instinctive resistance to touching me, but I didn't care anymore. The Prince of Chu walked ahead of me with steady steps. Supported by my maid, I followed him step by step. As I stepped over the brazier, my embroidered shoe accidentally stepped on Lu Yan's wedding robe. With a sudden movement of his body, the red silk in his hand fell into the brazier. It caught fire instantly. Seeing the flames rising from the red silk, I was startled and lost my composure. In the panic, I seemed to trip over something, and my whole body fell straight toward the brazier. At that exact moment, Lu Yan instinctively reached out to wrap his arm around my waist, catching me. He only felt that my waist was slender and soft as if without bones. I threw myself into his arms without hesitation, clinging tightly to him. Immediately after, my wedding robe also fell into the fire. Lu Yan glanced at me, turned around, and scooped me up in his arms. He had no intention of getting close to me. He simply couldn't stand by and watch someone die in front of everyone. It was even more impossible for him to push me away ungentlemanly. To his surprise, a refreshing, maidenly fragrance drifted into his nose. He looked down and saw an exquisitely beautiful face with delicate features, like a cherry blossom in full bloom. She was truly as beautiful as a painting. Everything that just happened took place in the blink of an eye. Lu Yan moved quickly enough, pulling down the bridal veil that had slipped to my chest and covering me with it again. Afterward, he resumed his cold, aloof demeanor that warned others to keep their distance.
Can you still go on?
I looked at him and nodded slightly. The wedding ceremony continued. Only after all the rituals were completed was I escorted to the bridal chamber. The groom remained in the front hall to entertain the guests. Once I entered the bridal chamber, I dismissed all the servants, leaving only my dowry maids, Chunlen and Chuju, in the room. Once the servants closed the door, my tense nerves finally relaxed. I removed the veil myself and massaged my aching legs, waist and back. Have the nanny prepare some water.
Yes, miss. It is such a pity to wash off such exquisite makeup. A woman is at her most beautiful at her wedding.
I knew what she meant and curled my lips into a faint smile. The Prince of Chu is not a man swayed by mere looks. Besides, he has already seen it just now, so it is no longer a novelty. When someone's heart is not on the right person, no matter how hard you try, it is in vain. After I finished bathing, I prepared to get a good night's sleep. I then instructed Chunlun, wake me up as soon as it strikes midnight, because Lu Yan happened to come in right at midnight. In my past life, I waited until my back was about to break before he returned. 1:15 midnight, faint footsteps came from the corridor. Chunlan peered outside through the crack in the door. Sure enough, she saw His Highness the Prince of Chu walking toward the bridal chamber, supported by guards. She hurriedly ran to the bedside.
Miss, you are truly amazing. The prince really returned at this hour. But miss, you have removed your hairpins and jewelry, and you are barely dressed. Will this make the prince think you are improper? You are now the Princess of Chu, miss. You cannot be as casual as you were in your maiden home.
The prince doesn't like women who are too formal. He doesn't even bother to look at me, let alone care about how I dress. Right now, I only care about my own comfort and ease. Hearing the outer door being quietly pushed open, Chunlan hurriedly covered me with the veil. As the night wind blew in, the first thing Luyan saw was a pair of fair bare feet stepping on the red carpet. My toes curled tightly, looking extremely nervous. Seeing this scene, he knit his brows tightly, and coldness welled up in his eyes. Chunlan also noticed that I wasn't wearing shoes or socks, and was startled.
How did we forget the feet?
But it was already too late now. She braced herself and left the room. Compared to the maid, I was much more composed, with my veil properly in place. I sat up straight and proper. A dark shadow fell at my feet. I curled my toes in a bit more, looking cute and timid. Lu Yan glanced at the messy bed.
It seemed the daughter of Grand Tutor and was not as gentle and well-mannered as his mother had described. She had probably just woken up. Dressing like this, did she want to seduce him directly? What made her think she could? Or did she think that with her face, she could seduce him into consummating the marriage? But no matter how beautiful she was, she could not shake his love for Yuhi.
He hadn't wanted to come in, but considering his mother had promised him that he could marry Yuhu as a consort, he still had to show some respect.
Coming to make things clear to her would be best for both of them.
He calmed his mind a little and raised his hand to lift my veil. He saw my face was flushed red, and in a moment of timidness, the red veil slipped to the floor. This servant greets your highness. Lu Yan did not expect me to be such a timid and weak woman. With my makeup removed, he only felt my features were even more delicate and exquisite. He said in a calm, deep voice,
"Rise. You and I are already husband and wife. There is no need for such ceremony."
I stood up like a delicate willow swaying in the wind. My face was flushed red, and my fingers pulled together my already thin outer robe. The more I tried to cover up, the more it outlined my graceful waist. Lu Yan quickly averted his eyes.
Put your clothes on properly.
It is not that this servant does not know the rules. Please allow this servant to explain, your highness. During the day, my outer robe was burned and torn. Fearing it would look unseemly, I had water prepared for a bath after returning to the room. I intended to dress up again, but perhaps because I was too exhausted, I accidentally fell asleep and lost track of the time.
I do not mind.
I stepped aside timidly and fearfully, looking at the weak and timid me before him. He felt he had probably frightened me. The coldness in his eyes softened slightly, and he spoke in a calmer tone.
Sit down.
Please sit first, your highness. I smiled, and the smile on my face seemed contagious, making his heart skip a beat. Lu Yan sat on the edge of the bed with a solemn face, trying his best not to look at me, maintaining a deliberate coldness on his face throughout. I pretended not to notice his aloofness and sat gracefully by his side, my cheeks flushed with a rosy glow. You.
Don't just listen to everything, Nanny, she says. I have some things to say to you now.
I immediately stopped talking and looked at him innocently with bright, sparkling eyes. Lu Yan keenly sensed my closeness and stood up abruptly, reaffirming to himself that the only one he loved was Xia Yuhi.
I already have someone I love, and I have promised to love only her in this lifetime. Aside from her, my heart can never hold another woman. Therefore, I will not consummate our marriage. What Nanny Shi told you was all wrong. Only two people who truly love each other can be completely open with one another and do such things.
So your highness already has someone you love. Ever since the imperial decree of marriage arrived at the estate, my mother also told me that I must only love your highness. But I have never met your highness before. So how could I love your highness? Since your highness has a lady you love, you should strive to marry her and bring her here. What I meant was, you have someone you love, yet you lack the ability to marry her. What does that have to do with me? I do not love you, yet I still married you, simply because the imperial will cannot be defied. I wanted to let him know that it wasn't that I intentionally intruded between the two of them. I married into the Prince of Chu's estate by imperial decree. I understood Liu Yan. In front of him, it was best to appear as a blank sheet of paper. A man's possessiveness is far stronger than one might think. Liu Yan was somewhat stunned by my reaction. His eyes filled with scrutiny. He saw that my gaze was clear and candid, with no sign of pretense on my face. On the contrary, it was him whose heart suddenly grew flustered because of my closeness. He confirmed once more.
Do you really not mind her entering the estate?
A lady who can win your highness's affection must surely be an exceptional woman. Why should this servant mind? Nanny Shi said that since I have become your highness's princess consort, I must take more care to ensure the estate's offspring flourish. The duty of the princess consort includes selecting suitable women for your highness to enter the estate and serve your highness. In the future, this servant will certainly put more effort into this. Even if I disagreed, what difference would it make? Is crying going to do any good? You're still going to marry her in 3 days anyway. Why shouldn't I just do you a favor? In this lifetime, I want to see with my own eyes just how unbreakable your love for Sha Yuhi really is. Seeing me so calm, Liu Yan felt inexplicably irritated.
Are you truly this generous?
I took the initiative to ask, is your highness ready to retire for the night? Liu Yan's heart skipped a beat.
Since we've made things clear, I will sleep in the study.
Summoning my courage, I spoke up again. Please don't misunderstand, your highness. Nothing will happen between us. We are simply going to sleep. We can each keep to our own side, all right? Besides, it is so late. If your highness leaves your new bride's room to sleep in the study alone, I fear that tomorrow Nanny Shi will lecture me again for failing in my duties as a wife. Hearing this, Liu Yan considered the matter more carefully. After all, I was married to him by imperial decree. It wouldn't look good to neglect me so soon. Since I had agreed to let him marry Yuhu and agreed not to consummate the marriage, he had no reason to go sleep in the study anymore. As long as I remained sensible, he wouldn't make things difficult for me. Let me help you undress, your highness.
No need.
Liu Yan sidestepped me and walked straight behind the folding screen. After being busy all day, he needed to wash up. My expression remained indifferent. I had already washed up anyway. Ignoring Liu Yan, I climbed into bed, found a comfortable position, and went to sleep on my own. When Liu Yan returned from his bath, he saw me lying on the innermost side of the bed. My waist was as slender as a willow, alluring and lovely. He froze for a moment, forced to admit that my breathtaking beauty was rare in this world. He lay down fully clothed on the outermost side of the bed, leaving a space wide enough for another person between us. A faint fragrance drifted into his nose, the very same subtle scent he had noticed when he held me earlier today. It was incredibly pleasant. He clenched his fists and turned his back to me.
I will never do anything to betray Yuha. Yuhi is the only love of my life.
He loved her with a passionate devotion, believing this was the kind of love he truly wanted. With that thought, he slowly closed his eyes and drifted off to sleep. I sneered in my heart. His heart might be as hard as stone, but his body was quite honest. In my past life, he didn't even give me a chance to speak and went straight to the study. In this life, he willingly got into my bed. What a promising start. In the early morning, Liu Yan suddenly felt a soft warmth in his arms. The next second, I shifted my position, my fingers brushing lightly against his neck as if by accident, sending a sudden wave of warmth through his body. I leaned in slightly, pressing my cheek close to him, my lips brushing against his neck as if in my sleep. His body instantly went rigid, his eyes narrowed, filling with coldness.
I said we wouldn't cross the line. It has only been one night, and she is already showing her true colors. She claims she didn't like me. Yet now she is trying to seduce me.
After making sure I was still asleep, he tried to pull away slightly, but I suddenly draped a leg over him. His heart trembled and his brow furrowed deeply. Before I could move again, he shoved me away, resolutely getting out of bed, as if his heart were completely unmoved. Awakened by his sudden movement, I looked somewhat bewildered.
And Zixuan, you certainly put on a good show. I almost believed that you were a simple and innocent woman.
I only felt utterly baffled. Why does your highness blame me so? Did something happen? Lu Yan heard those words clearly. He seemed even angrier now.
Angry at someone who was completely oblivious.
My eyes were filled with complete indifference. My maid, Chunlan, entered with trepidation.
Just now, I saw the prince leave in a great rage. How did you anger him, princess? Last night, you and the princes.
Don't overthink it.
The Prince of Chu is no gentleman either. According to my investigation, the Prince of Chu has been acting intimately with some wild woman. The prince's heart and mind are entirely devoted to that woman. You are 10,000 times better than her, my lady. How could the prince wrong you like this?
Mind your words.
The marriage between you and the prince was bestowed by the emperor, yet he cold shoulders you right after the wedding.
My eyes turned slightly cold. I said in a deep voice, mind your words. If you show such a lack of discipline again, I will send you back to the Grand Tutor's estate. Chuju grew frightened and immediately shut her mouth. Right after, Nanny Shai and the others entered in single file.
Last night, the prince and I did not consummate our marriage.
I only found out last night that the prince's heart belongs to someone else. Everything you taught me, Nanny, was of no use. I am truly useless.
To think the prince would actually remain chaste for that woman. You need not worry, princess. The days ahead are long. The prince will eventually see your virtues.
I nodded obediently without saying another word. As soon as I reached the front hall, I saw Lu Yan waiting there. No matter how angry he was, he still understood the protocol of bringing his new bride into the palace to pay respects to the empress. With graceful steps, I slowly walked toward him. My respects to your highness. Lu Yan was slightly dazed.
According to etiquette, I must take you into the palace today to pay respects and offer thanks. If you are ready, let us depart.
Yes, Lu Yan had originally wanted to give me a few instructions, but seeing that I was dressed appropriately and carried myself with poise, he said no more. He figured Nanny Shi had already taught me everything. The two of us rode in the same carriage into the palace. As soon as we reached the Kungchen gate, the carriage came to a halt. Even if it was a prince's carriage entering the palace, one had to transfer to a palace carriage at the Kungchen gate to enter the inner palace. He was the first to step out and dismounted the carriage with ease. I followed closely behind him, but suddenly paused in my tracks. Could your highness lend me a hand? My maid is not by my side. The prince's carriage is indeed much higher than the one at my home. Seeing me standing so delicately on the high carriage.
Why is the Grand Tutor's daughter so fragile? Can't she just get down by herself?
Not wanting to wait any longer, he took a step forward and offered me his arm, signaling for me to hold onto it to get down. Thank you, your highness. The squeaky wheel gets the grease. And a woman who knows how to act spoiled gets pampered. A woman who is too sensible only ends up hurting herself. These truths, which I failed to learn in my entire previous life, I actually learned at the Yichun brothel. The warm, soft touch seemed to remind him of some intimate scene. He merely nodded and said nothing more. Next, when boarding the palace carriage, I raised my eyes and held his arm as instructed, avoiding direct skin contact. To mind, even this, how laughable. I thoroughly enjoyed it. He was completely reluctant, yet had no choice but to look after my every need. To onlookers, the two of us looked like an affectionate newlywed couple. In the distant corridor,
The Prince of Chu made solemn vows to you, my lady, saying he would marry no one but you in this lifetime. Now, not only has he married someone else as his princess, but he is also showing such tender care to another woman. I truly feel this is so unfair to you, my lady.
Yan already explained it to me. Marrying her was not his wish. An imperial decree cannot be defied. He also promised me, I will never fall in love with another woman in this lifetime.
yesterday, when Lu Yan married his new bride, she was also hiding in the crowd. She saw clearly how captivated Lu Yan's expression was when he looked at me. Her heart ached terribly. She waited for him all night at Wang Yue Pavilion, thinking he would come. In the end, he still did not show up.
They must have consummated their marriage last night, right?
The more she thought about it, the sadder she became. If not for her love for him, she would have left.
But just as her aunt had said, how could she willingly hand her beloved over to someone else?
Xia Yuhi clenched her fists tightly, thinking to herself,
I will never let go. Lu Yan is mine.
So Sister Yuhi secretly slipped out just to see fifth brother's new princess consort.
I am not here to see her. I wanted to go horseback riding.
She was full of confidence, believing that Lu Yan would not fall for anyone else. Lu Yan was certainly not a man to be blinded by lust, because they were too far apart yesterday, and she was hiding in the crowd. She could not see clearly what I looked like. In truth, she also wanted to see what I actually looked like. Just now, as she stood far off on the imperial city walls, she only saw a tall, graceful silhouette in the distance, but could not make out my facial features.
I, this princess, would like to see what kind of woman dares to steal Sister Yuhe is beloved. Sister Yuhi, don't be sad anymore. Just watch me. I will make things difficult for her.
Yuer.
Xia Yuhe wanted to stop her, but Lu Yuer had already marched aggressively toward us with her attendants. Over here, the carriage had just stopped at the entrance of Cunning Palace. I gracefully stepped out of the carriage, this time, without me having to ask. Lu Yan proactively offered his arm for me to hold as I got down. A smile played on my lips. Just as my delicate fingers touched his arm, I was suddenly pushed by a force. Your Highness. I cried out in surprise. Losing my footing, I fell forward off the carriage. With quick reflexes, he caught me by the waist and pulled me into his arms. Panic still lingered in my eyes. My face turned pale, and my body trembled slightly. I wrapped my arms around his neck, my voice soft and delicate. Your Highness has saved my life once again. I cannot possibly repay such life-saving kindness. He set me down on the ground, glared at Lu Yue, and said in a deep voice,
Ninth sister, how can you be so mischievous?
Lu Yuer did not intend to push me off the carriage. She only wanted to pry our joined hands apart, as she found the sight highly irritating. She did not expect it would cause me to fall, let alone give him the opportunity to rescue me. Lu Yuer was only 13 years old. She pouted her pink lips. What had just happened was not what she wanted to see, nor was it what Sister Yuhi wanted to see. Instead of apologizing, she said with hostility,
Fifth brother, have you forgotten that Sister Yuhe is still waiting for you? If she sees you being so affectionate with someone else, how heartbroken she will be.
At the mention of Xia Yuhe, Lu Yan grew anxious.
Where is Yuhi?
Knowing you were bringing the new princess consort into the palace, she went to the polo field to ride horses.
Hearing this, Lu Yan turned to leave, heedless of everything else. With quick reflexes, I feigned a sprained ankle, grabbed his arm, and held him back. Lowering my head, I spoke in a voice only the two of us could hear. Your Highness, if you wish to marry Miss Yuhi into your estate, you cannot leave right now. The Empress is still waiting in Kunning Palace. If Miss Yuhi wishes to enter your estate, she needs the Empress's approval. Otherwise, she will be branded with the crime of an illicit union without a matchmaker. He was startled, his eyes widening in shock. His gaze was as cold as ice, as if he wanted to drill a hole through me. The words he spoke were even more hurtful.
If it weren't for you, Yuhi would be my primary consort.
Please think about it calmly, Your Highness. Even without me, there would have been another woman marrying you. I suspect Miss Yuhi could never become your primary consort, the Princess of Chu. Is that why you feel wrong to marry me? His eyes were filled with suspicion and surprise. The woman before him was not at all as weak and delicate as he had imagined. Please bear with it for now, Your Highness. I will make sure Miss Yuhi is brought into our household. I put on an innocent front, blinking my large eyes with an air of complete guilelessness. I will go with you to find Miss Yuhi shortly. I will explain everything to her on your behalf. That nothing happened between us last night, and I won't compete with her for anything in the future. Since the two of you love each other, I will certainly not come between you. I only ask that you maintain the dignity of the N family so that I won't become the subject of gossip. My eyes were clear and bright, pure as water, and my face was full of sincerity. Lu Yan had not expected that I would be so considerate of him and Yuhi. I was clearly the Princess of Chu, yet I was willing to compromise to such an extent. A flicker of guilt flashed through his eyes. This was ultimately a grievance between his mother and noble consort Shaya. He shouldn't have taken his anger out on an innocent bystander, marrying someone I didn't love. I was a victim as well. Once he understood this, he turned to Lu Yuer and said,
Ninth sister, go tell Yuhi to wait for me at our usual spot.
Lu Yuer did not know what we had whispered to each other. She had thought her fifth brother would abandon me for sister He. Instead, she saw me standing there gracefully, nodding slightly to her. Is the ninth princess coming with us to pay respects to her majesty? Lu Yuer pouted and glared at me.
I am going to find my sister, He, in my heart. Only sister, He is my fifth sister-in-law. No one else even compare.
With that, she held her head high and walked away proudly. If I had let you take Lu Yan away today, it would have been my face as the princess that was lost. Had this been my previous life, I would have wept myself to death. Inside Kuning Palace, Nanny Shi had already delivered the news of our unconsummated marriage to Empress Cheng. Naturally, the Empress was also aware of the minor incident that had occurred outside. Regardless of how I managed it, I had ultimately preserved my own dignity. Empress Cheng raised her elegant eyebrows slightly and said indifferently,
If an Zixuan is capable, consummating the marriage is only a matter of time. Judging by what happened today, I have indeed chosen a good princess for Yanner.
The prince helped her up and down. He must fond of the princess. The ninth princess is far too ill-mannered. She had already reached the palace gates, yet she didn't even come in to pay respects to your majesty. I truly do not know how the noble consort raised her.
She will suffer for it sooner or later.
She also detested Lu Yuer.
Ever since the prince's marriage was settled, the noble consort went to his majesty to beg for a favor. In the end, the emperor refused, saying an emperor's word is final. The noble consort's face was so unsightly back then. His majesty truly helped your majesty vent some anger. Your majesty is indeed wise to have requested the imperial decree one step ahead of the noble consort.
At the mention of this, the empress's face instantly fell.
He instigated his niece to seduce my son, making Yair completely infatuated. Since Yanner likes her as his mother, I will not play the villain who tears lovers apart and damages our mother-son bond. I will fulfill his wish by letting her be a concubine.
Your majesty is wise.
Although Yenner is the legitimate son, he has rarely received the emperor's affection. Now that the crown prince has not been named, and the emperor has many sons, everyone is fighting tooth and nail, both openly and secretly. Furthermore, the emperor has grown increasingly suspicious by nature. He is afraid that my son would gain the support of the Xia family. He naturally would not agree. Yenner also needs to keep a low profile now. He has also reached the age to discuss marriage. Marrying the daughter of a junior grand tutor who has no power or influence will put the emperor at ease. Besides, the Yan family comes from a scholarly lineage, so she is barely a decent match.
The emperor also intends to warn the Prince of Cheng and guard against the Cheng clan. Both the emperor and empress had their own calculations. Since the emperor was willing to bestow the marriage, Empress Cheng felt as if her wishes had been granted.
Your Majesty, the prince and princess consort have arrived at the main hall.
Empress Cheng adjusted her hair, placed her hand on Nanny Shi's arm, and rose from her seat.
Let's go. Let's go see this beautiful daughter-in-law of mine.
There was another reason she chose the daughter of the Yan family, junior grand tutor, and held very little power, making her easier to control in the future. Lu Yan and I were led into the main hall to wait. I kept my eyes straight ahead, neither humble nor arrogant, maintaining a dignified posture at all times. I pondered to myself. Noble consort Xia and Empress Cheng fought both openly and secretly. Before the emperor, noble consort Xia overshadowed Empress Cheng at every turn. Although the empress was the master of the imperial harem, her affection with the emperor was as thin as paper. She had always been bitter in her heart, never receiving her husband's love her entire life, which was truly similar to my own situation. However, the empress was very clever. She spent her whole life scheming for this throne, whereas I foolishly yearned for Lu Yan's love, which was incredibly stupid. Just then, the empress walked in with a beaming smile and sat gracefully on the cushioned couch.
Your son pays respects to imperial mother.
I also knelt down respectfully. This daughter-in-law pays respects to imperial mother.
No need for such ceremony. You may both rise. Yanner, hurry and give your wife a hand.
Lu Yan helped me up in a proper manner. Thank you, Your Highness. At that moment, Nanny Shi brought over the tea again. I took it. Imperial Mother, please have some tea. The Empress took it, took a light sip, and set it down.
Bring it up.
She ordered the maid to bring over a tray, which held several pieces of exquisite jewelry as a meeting gift. I accepted it with great respect. Thank you, Imperial Mother.
What just happened outside the palace? I have also heard about it. Yanner wants to take her as a side consort. Do you have any objections?
Replying to Imperial Mother, this daughter-in-law has no objections. Once I return to the estate, I will begin arranging the matters for His Highness to take a side consort. The Empress's brow furrowed slightly.
Her disposition is a bit too soft. I fear she is no match for that scheming woman, Xia Yuhi. Nanny Shi invited them to sit. This daughter-in-law of mine truly outshines all the ladies in the capital. Such a delicate and lovely appearance really pleases me.
I stole a glance at Lu Yan. The Empress noticed this.
If I say you are good, then you are good. Zixuan's childhood name is Ruan, correct? From now on, just like your mother, I shall call you Ruan. Is that all right?
Yes. My gentle and delicate demeanor appeared pure and harmless, making me look like an obedient and useful pawn. In my past life, because I failed to win Lu Yan's affection and refused to obey the Empress, I became an abandoned pawn in her eyes. Later on, Xia Yuhi's schemes were indeed brilliant. For her sake, Lu Yan nearly severed his mother-son bond with the Empress. Even after Xia Yuhi ascended to the position of Empress, noble consort Xia and the Empress shared the title of Empress Dowager, which made me spit blood in anger. In this life, I am willing to be the Empress's pawn. Even if I must use any means necessary, I will reach the position of Empress. After breakfast, Lu Yan excused himself to go to the imperial study and left alone. I stayed behind to keep the Empress company. I sat gracefully and politely on the cushioned stool. The Empress spoke openly and honestly.
You have been married for less than 2 days. Are you truly willing to let Yanner marry a side consort?
Even if I were unwilling, I could not change anything. It is better to fulfill their wishes. May all lovers find their happy ending. Is that not what you think as well, Imperial Mother? The more we try to stop him, the more he will rebel. It is better to let him have his way. My features were delicate and exquisite, my expression as calm as a gentle breeze, and not a single ripple stirred in my crystal-clear eyes, as if I truly did not mind. Empress Chung scrutinized me for a moment, and a smile suddenly curled at the corners of her lips.
You truly are a clever woman. With such a virtuous wife as Ruanren to look after Yanner, this palace can rest easy. Xia Yuhi grew up on the borderlands, so her temperament is a bit lively. Yanner only finds her novel for the moment, which is why he is somewhat infatuated. Once side consort Xia enters the manor, this palace will entrust the heavy responsibility of instructing her to you. As for how to instruct her, you may decide on a plan yourself, Ruanren. After all, she is merely a concubine. Men just need to be coaxed a bit more, and he will naturally come to your chambers.
My ears flushed a deep crimson, and I lowered my head slightly, keeping my gaze fixed only on the teacup in front of me. This daughter-in-law understands. The Empress was trying to win me over. No matter what, I had to respond accordingly. This daughter-in-law. Since childhood, I have heard my father praise the prince for his mastery of both civil and military arts. He has been clever and capable since he was young. He once entered the Imperial Academy to challenge numerous scholars, and became famous in a single battle. Latter, when the Hu tribe gathered an army of 300,000 to attack the Great Zhou, the enemy forces were unstoppable, and the cities of Great Zhou fell one after another. His Highness the Prince of Chu, who was only 15 at the time, led a dozen men to infiltrate the enemy camp, capturing the enemy leader alive. In that battle to repel the Hu tribe, the prince won a magnificent victory for the Great Zhou dynasty. That the prince is so brave and extraordinary is also thanks to your meticulous guidance, Imperial Mother. At the mention of Lu Yan's past achievements, a look of pride flashed in Empress Chung's eyes, but at the thought of her son's outstanding talents not being utilized by the emperor, her brow could not help but furrow. Yanner was only denied the emperor's favor because he was dragged down by her. What is the matter, Imperial Mother? A hint of confusion flashed across my youthful face.
Yanner's mind is currently entirely focused on that woman. This palace is also vexed by this. Therefore, you must focus more of your efforts on Yanner.
This daughter-in-law believes the prince will understand your painstaking efforts. Imperial mother. There is a saying among the common people, establish a family first, then build a career. Before, the prince was not yet married, so his mind was naturally unsettled. It was only natural that imperial father felt uneasy about entrusting him with heavy responsibilities. But now it is different. Once side consort Xia enters the manor, the prince will surely become diligent and motivated. Hearing this, the empress's mind suddenly cleared, and her eyes brightened.
This is a wonderful idea. Let Yanner seek an official post before the emperor. Previously, the emperor was unwilling to entrust him with heavy responsibilities. But now it is different. Yanner is married. He is now an adult. He cannot remain idle all day long. The emperor has no reason to refuse.
Actually, there is no need for any heavy responsibility at the moment. The empress furrowed her brow.
What do you mean by that? Currently, the crown prince has not been named, and all the princes are scrambling to gain merit and show off their abilities. Yanner naturally needs to achieve great merit.
Now that the world is at peace, the prince only needs to remain by his majesty's side and share his majesty's worries. The affairs of Shengjing, both large and small, are too numerous to count. With the prince's brilliant natural talent, this daughter-in-law believes he can handle them with ease. Once the prince manages his official duties flawlessly, the emperor will naturally be pleased. The empress's eyes widened.
Indeed, the daughter of the junior preceptor has great foresight. Keeping him right under the emperor's nose is far better than letting him wander off to distant lands. Ruan, which position do you think is suitable for Yanner?
I heard that there happens to be a vacancy in Shengjing at the moment, the position of governor of the capital. I believe your highness is perfectly suited for it. It will also serve as a way to temper his character while he quietly awaits his majesty's grander assignments. Giving him something to do will keep him from idling away his days with Xia Yuhi.
When His Majesty was still the crown prince, he also served as the governor of the capital. This is indeed an excellent position. I shall go to the imperial study immediately to request the decree. Ruan, you may amuse yourself in the palace for a while.
Empress Cheng, terrified that this lucrative post might fall into the hands of other princes and cause them to lose the opportunity, had Nanny Shi touch up her makeup and attire. She then ordered Nanny Shi to ladle a bowl of soup from the small kitchen into a food box and set off to find the emperor. I quickly rose to see her off. Only after the empress had gone far did I stand up straight and gracefully exit the main hall. I remembered that Lu Yan was created crown prince because a year from now he would don his armor once more to repel the invasion of the Hu barbarians. Lu Yan fought that battle beautifully. Later, he also gained merit through flood control, demonstrating extraordinary capability. The emperor was highly pleased, and only then did he invest him as the crown prince. But during this year, after he married Xia Yuhe, the two of them were deeply infatuated with each other, their feelings growing ever warmer. Meanwhile, Lu Yan had left Kuning Palace and gone straight to the horse ranch. At this moment, he had no idea that his wife had found him a troublesome and demanding job. In the future, even if there were no official duties, I would create duties for him so that he could perform well before the emperor. On the horse ranch, a chestnut steed galloped swiftly. Upon the horse, a heroic woman in red, skillfully handling the reins. Lu Yan took one look at her and wanted to call out to stop her, but she couldn't hear him because they were too far apart. So, he mounted a fine horse and gave chase. Lu Yan was highly skilled in horsemanship. When he caught up to Xia Yuhi, he pulled tight on the reins and explained,
Yuhi, do not be angry anymore. And Zixuan and I are completely innocent.
I am not angry at all. Now that your highness has taken a princess consort, you should live your life well with her. I am going home. Back to the general's estate at the frontier.
Lu Yan grew anxious. He abandoned his horse and leaped onto the back of Xia Yuhi as mount.
And you still say you are not angry? If you go back, what am I to do? The imperial decree of marriage was bestowed by imperial father. I had no way to defy it. Marrying her is merely a matter of expediency. The only one I love is you, Yuhi.
Xia Yuhi did not put on airs anymore. Beaming with joy, she snuggled into Lu Yan's embrace.
Yan, is there really nothing between you and her?
This prince swears.
I do not want you to swear. I only want you to love me wholeheartedly, with only me in your heart.
Very well. This prince promises to have only you in my heart. It is a pity your imperial mother does not like me.
Otherwise, she would not have been in such a hurry to marry a princess consort to you. Yen. I have truly given up a great deal for you. Originally, I did not have to marry you as a side consort. Back in our homeland, there were many men who proposed to me. I could have been their primary wife. But my heart only holds you. I could not bear to be parted from you.
Lu Yan felt increasingly satisfied in his heart. The Xia family would absolutely never marry their daughter off to someone as a concubine. It was he who promised that if he could reach the top in the future, he would surely give her the very best. The Xia family also knew, among the many princes, the Prince of Chu has the greatest chance. If it weren't for the poor relationship between the Empress and the Emperor, with the Prince of Chu's talent, the Emperor would likely have established him as the crown prince long ago. Furthermore, since noble consort Xia had no sons, she had no hope of becoming the Empress Dowager. If the Xia family wished to survive, they had to seek another path. Who could have expected the Empress to intervene? She forced another woman into the position of Princess of Chu.
But why did you still hold her?
When did I ever hold her?
I saw it with my own eyes. You did hold her. Is she beautiful?
My peerlessly beautiful face flashed through Lu Yan's mind. His body went stiff. He was dazed for a moment.
She is all right, I suppose.
Is she more beautiful than me?
Lu Yan could not answer. In his heart, Xia Yuhe was the best. It was not just because of her beauty. When he liked someone, he did not care about her looks. He just wanted to love her purely. Seeing that he did not answer, Xia Yuhe felt a sudden tightness in her chest.
I am the most beautiful girl on our grasslands. You must remember, you married the most beautiful girl on the grasslands. It is your blessing that I can marry you.
Her words were incredibly boastful. No wonder the Empress did not like her. No matter how arrogant people in the world could be, who could be more arrogant than a prince? Lu Yan did not mind either. He only felt that she had a bright personality and no malice. He liked such a confident girl. He said,
So I look forward to the day Yuhi marries me.
She proactively kissed his lips.
Yen, you must promise me, no matter how beautiful she is, you are not allowed to like her.
I do not like her.
He answered firmly.
She is not allowed to like you either.
Xia Yuhe was smug and proud.
But my Yen is so handsome. It is impossible for her not to like you.
A strange feeling flashed through Lu Yan's heart, and Zixuan indeed did not like him. She had even proactively arranged their wedding for them. He thought to himself, and Zixuan was right about one thing. His relationship with Xia Yuhi was indeed an illicit union without a matchmaker. He feared his imperial father would be even more disappointed in him.
Let's go back.
Going back so soon? Yen was not like this before. Could it be because of Zixuan?
She cared about him.
I still need to pay my respects to imperial father.
His voice grew cold and deep, carrying an unquestionable sense of authority. On the other side, the Empress had indeed secured the position of governor of Capital Prefecture for the Prince of Chu. Amidst her joy, she only heard the Emperor let out a cold sneer.
It is good to be young, carefree, brave, and fearless. He wants a position, yet he doesn't even come to ask for it himself.
Actually, Yenner is still very motivated. When he was a child,
The Emperor slammed the memorial in his hand heavily onto the table.
He was spoiled by you. That is why he acts so willfully. If he were motivated, he wouldn't spend all his time thinking about women, doing nothing all day long.
The Empress's face turned pale and then flushed with anger.
Your Majesty, which of your words is not belittling him? Think of how clever he was when he was a child.
As the Empress spoke, she began to count Lu Yan's great achievements from his childhood. It was all because the Emperor did not like her, which was why their innocent son was implicated and disliked by the Emperor. The Emperor's brow furrowed deeply. A deafening roar echoed through the grand hall.
Have you had enough? How is this proper for the dignified Empress? To think the Empress behaves in such a manner.
The Empress trembled violently from the roar. It was not out of fear, but because the Emperor's harsh words were like sharp blades cutting into her heart, making her bleed profusely. Was she really so detested by him? With a sharp bang, the door to the imperial study was pushed open. Lu Yan stood outside the door with a cold expression.
Yanner, hurry and pay respects to your imperial father.
Lu Yan concealed the coldness in his eyes and stepped inside. Every step he took was heavy. until he knelt before the emperor. Only then did he respectfully cup his hands and say,
This son pays respects to imperial father.
Rise.
Thank you, father.
Lu Yan was as respectful as always. The emperor had just finished arguing with the empress. He acted as if he were used to it and nothing had happened.
Your mother came to request a position for you. The post of governor of Jingzhou happens to be vacant right now. If you are not up to the task, I will appoint someone else.
He said the latter part, thinking that Lu Yan would refuse.
Your son will not fail to meet the high expectations of father and mother. Thank you, father.
Lu Yan cupped his hands. His well-defined fingers clenched tightly into a fist, with so much force that his knuckles turned stark white.
Appointing Lu Yan as the governor of Jingzhou
Made the empress secretly pleased, though she did not dare to show it. The emperor could not even be bothered to look at them.
dismissed.
Father, your son and the daughter of the Xia family are deeply in love. Your son requests father to issue an imperial decree. Your son wishes to marry the daughter of the Xia family as a side consort.
The Xia family was willing to marry their daughter to the Prince of Chu as a concubine. It seemed the Xia family thought very highly of the Prince of Chu.
Even at a time like this, how could he still want to marry that woman?
The emperor's expression grew dark and unreadable. Only after a moment did he speak.
Such a trivial matter can be decided by your imperial mother. What does the empress think?
Empress Cheng's eyes darted as she thought.
Yanner has already taken a princess consort. Whether to bring someone new into his manor should be left to the princess consort to decide.
Then let it be settled as such.
The emperor, too, had played his cards shrewdly. Without an imperial decree of marriage, the Xia family will surely be displeased with the Prince of Chu making their daughter a concubine.
This child takes his leave.
He had wanted to secure an honorable status for Xia Yuhi, but he never expected it to backfire so completely. In the end, the final decision actually fell into my hands. After Empress Cheng left, I felt a bit bored in the palace, so I had a female official accompany me to the garden for a walk. It was currently the beautiful season when 100 flowers bloom. The garden was filled with flowers competing in beauty, blooming in delicate and dripping splendor. With a faint smile on my face, I remarked, "This is indeed the palace where Her Majesty the Empress resides. Its grandeur is truly extraordinary. The weather is a bit warm. Go find a fan for me." On the gold-bordered, embroidered round fan, a young girl was depicted chasing butterflies. The girl's figure was light and graceful, her spinning body looking as if she were dancing elegantly. I took light, graceful steps, my figure elegant and swaying, like a willow drifting in the spring breeze. My eyes were deep and dreamy. As I sang the song Red Makeup, my gaze seemingly filled with 1,000 words, completely lost in my own world. When Lu Yan returned to Cunning Palace, he happened to see my graceful dance and hear my beautiful singing. The gloom in his heart seemed to instantly vanish. The smile on my face seemed capable of melting all the coldness in the world. Only then did he realize that Zixuan had also married him with beautiful hopes. She had once hoped to spend her life with her husband in endless joy. Empress Cheng was seething with anger and returned a step later than Lu Yan. She was in no mood to appreciate singing and dancing. Suddenly, she saw a crowd gathered in the garden and had no idea what was happening. She shouted angrily,
"What are you all crowding around for?"
Instantly, the surrounding maids and eunuchs scattered in all directions. The sound in the garden came to an abrupt halt. I looked up to see Lu Yan and Empress Cheng arriving. I paled with fright, and caught off guard, I fell to the ground. Immediately after, I burst into tears, my entire body going limp.
What were you doing just now?
Please forgive me, Empress Mother. This consort saw that the scenery in the garden was truly beautiful and could not help myself but dance in the garden, and accidentally took a fall. Empress Cheng was angry with the emperor, so she did not take her anger out on me. She said coldly,
"Rise."
"Yes." Biting my lip, I tried to stand up, but a sharp pain shot through my ankle. My small face turned pale with pain. Fine beads of sweat broke out on my forehead, leaving me completely at a loss. Seeing me clutching my ankle, Lu Yan asked in a deep voice,
Did you sprain your foot?
"I think so." She summoned the imperial physician and ordered the maids to help me up. I struggled to stand up, but a sharp pain shot through my ankle. The pain brought tears welling up in my eyes, making it impossible to take even a single step forward. Lu Yan took a swift step forward, scooped me up in his arms, and carried me toward the inner hall. My eyes widened in surprise, and I stared blankly at his face. His expression remained as cold as ice, and his movements were rather rough. He placed me on the soft daybed, showing no tenderness whatsoever.
Before the physician arrives, this prince will check if you've broken any bones.
A glimmer of light shone in my beautiful eyes. Your Highness knows how to do that? Lu Yan did not care to explain that this was basic knowledge for any soldier. Unfortunately, he could never return to the battlefield again. His imperial father detested him and had already given up on him. He personally lifted the hem of my skirt, removing my shoe and sock. My flawless jade-like foot was completely red, and the ankle was severely swollen. He pressed it gently with his finger, and the pain made my tears spill over instantly.
Cry out if it hurts. You will feel better if you let it out.
My tears kept flowing, and with my eyes tightly shut, I shook my head because the pain was unbearable. I even began to bite the back of my own hand.
Lu Yan had never seen a woman so afraid of pain. He hadn't even started yet. It would hurt even more when the ice was applied later. The bone isn't broken. It is just a sprain. Apply ice first, then the medicine. Go fetch some ice.
Your Highness, will applying the medicine hurt?
Yes, it will. Just bear with it and it will pass.
I pulled my leg back, curling my entire body up on the soft daybed, my brow tightly furrowed. Those eyes of mine, like deep lakes, were filled with glistening tears. The teardrops on my cheeks were like pearls. A flush colored her pale, delicate face, making her look heartbreakingly beautiful. Can we not apply the medicine? It doesn't hurt as much if I don't move it. Let it heal on its own.
Without ice and medicine, don't even think about this foot of yours getting better. You will end up with a limp.
Frightened, I straightened my leg again. I can bear it. I don't want to end up with a limp. He shook his head helplessly. Soon, a maid brought the ice. But the moment the ice touched my ankle, gently, it hurts. Seeing this, the maid dared not use any force. Yet, even the slightest touch made me shiver all over from the pain. He could not bear to watch any longer.
How can the swelling go down if you don't use some force?
The maid dared not disobey. She tried to apply more pressure, which made me bite the back of my hand even harder, leaving bloody teeth marks on it. Seeing me look as if I were about to faint from the pain, he then said to the maid,
Your pressure is wrong. Let this prince do it. You may all leave.
The maid felt a wave of relief and quickly withdrew. I saw him sitting on the low stool, gently cradling my foot in both hands. His cool fingertips gently circled my ankle, trying to help me slowly adjust to the pain.
Stop biting your hand. If you keep biting it, we'll have to treat your hand next. Hold onto my arm. And think about something else to distract yourself.
I nodded, obediently. I placed both hands on his arms. The next second, as the ice made contact with the painful spot, I suddenly gripped him tightly, squeezing with all my might. I felt his grip tighten, but at least I stopped thrashing around. He continued moving in circles to reduce the swelling for me. When the pain became unbearable, I suddenly threw my arms around his shoulders, my fingers digging into his back. His brow furrowed slightly, a flush spreading across his handsome features. My cheek brushed against his ear, sending a tingling sensation through me. Once the treatment was finished, I don't know how much time passed before the pain in my ankle finally eased a little and the swelling subsided slightly. I felt as if I were about to faint from the pain, slumping limply into his arms with a hazy consciousness. By now, my forehead and brows were covered in fine sweat, and my body felt completely drenched in sweat. My sweat-drenched appearance was truly endearing. His Adam's apple bobbed, and his heart raced wildly. I squirmed restlessly in his embrace. Fortunately, we were the only two in the palace hall. Otherwise, if the palace maids and eunuchs saw us like this, they would misunderstand and think we behaved improperly outside the hall. Empress Chung had the imperial physician leave the medicine for bruises and dismissed him. A faint smile touched the corners of her lips, and she ordered everyone not to enter the hall and disturb them.
This old servant has never seen His Highness show such patience. If the princess consort can win His Highness's affection, it would certainly relieve your majesty's worries. As for that daughter of the Xia family,
Yaner is a man of deep feelings. He would never give up Sha Yuhi just because of Nzian. Right now, we can only see if Yaner can grow fond of Nzian.
with such a delicate, water-like beauty, it is hard for His Highness not to be moved.
Since the emperor agreed to let Yaner serve as the governor of Jingzhou, it shows the emperor hasn't completely given up on him. With Yaner's intelligence, he will surely achieve great things. And Zixuan was right. Only by keeping Yaner right under the emperor's nose can the emperor be reminded
that he still has such an outstanding legitimate son. When it was time to return to the manor, Empress Chung excused herself, claiming she was tired and did not come out to see us off, leaving us to return on our own. After my medicine was applied and my foot was wrapped in bandages, I was carried into the carriage by Lu Yan. Your Highness.
What is it?
Thank you.
It was Imperial Mother who accidentally startled you, causing you to fall and sprain your foot. No need for thanks.
And for the last time, and the time before that, thank you for all of them. He paused for a moment, knowing I was referring to our wedding day, and the time I almost fell from the carriage at the palace.
When you bathe, make sure not to get your foot wet. Do not step on the ground for the next few days.
Yes, this servant will keep that in mind.
When he held me, he could clearly feel that my clothes were soaked with sweat, drenched in sweat. It would probably be hard to fall asleep. He hadn't even realized it himself, but he seemed to have already accepted me as his wife. And this way of getting along between us was just like a couple who treat each other with mutual respect. After Lu Yan left, I finally sat up straight, my expression returning to normal. I lifted my teacup and took a gentle sip. Prepare the bath water.
Princess Consort, what happened between you and His Highness at the palace? Why did His Highness carry you back and say those things? His Highness seems to really care about you.
Don't overthink it. He treats other women the same way. He was especially gentle, particularly with Sha Yuhei. The blush on my face instantly vanished, replaced by a calm and indifferent expression. Chunlan couldn't understand why her mistress wasn't moved. The prince is so exceptionally elegant and outstanding. Any woman would fall for a handsome man like him, wouldn't they? After I finished bathing, I had someone set up writing materials on the desk and began to practice calligraphy to calm my mind. Lu Yan won't be coming tonight. He has no reason to enter the bridal chamber again, so I have to think of a way. In my past life, Sha Yuhei deliberately chose the day of her entry into the manor to be the very day of my first return visit to my parental home. In this life, since the Empress has given me full authority, then I will make her wait slowly. Go and hand this to the prince. Ask him if he finds it appropriate. If he is not satisfied, ask the prince to come over so we can choose another auspicious day.
It was set for 5 days later. Today is the 23rd of March. 5 days from now is exactly the 28th of March. Why is the princess letting that woman enter the manor so quickly? If she really enters the manor, won't your highness lose your chance?
5 days is merely the date I proposed. The prince will soon claim to be busy with official duties. She won't be entering the manor so quickly. Chunlin and Chuju were utterly bewildered.
The prince loved that woman so much. He could not wait to marry Sha Yuhi into the house immediately.
How could he possibly refuse to marry a side consort 5 days later?
When Chuju arrived at the study, she conveyed my words to Lu Yan exactly as they were spoken. After reading it, his expression turned slightly cold, and a barely perceptible trace of anger flashed across his handsome face. He asked,
What else did the princess consort say?
If the prince is not satisfied with this date, you may discuss it further with the princess consort.
Originally, Sha Yuhe and Lu Yan had agreed on the 24th of the 3rd lunar month, which was also an auspicious day. However, the 28th of March happened to be the anniversary of that person's death. This had always been a secret deep in his heart, which no one else knew.
This was proposed by the princess consort. Could she know something? No, that is impossible. No one could possibly know. But the date she chose happens to be such a coincidence. Change the date.
Chuju couldn't help but admire her in her heart. The princess consort indeed predicted everything like a prophet. It was truly miraculous.
But wasn't the prince eager to marry the side consort into the house? The 28th of the 3rd lunar month is indeed the best day. If we are to change the date, the princess consort invites the prince to discuss it together.
No need. Get out.
His eyes suddenly turned cold and sharp. Terrified, Chuju hurriedly backed out. She found it completely baffling. Just now, the prince's eyes looked as if he wanted to kill someone. As soon as Chuju turned around, she heard the Prince of Chu ordering someone to bring wine, and she quickly returned to the princess consort's courtyard. She thought to herself, this is truly bizarre. Which of my words offended the Prince of Chu? After practicing calligraphy for a while, I felt a bit tired. Just as I was about to lie down for a short nap, I remembered I hadn't practiced my martial arts today. When Chuju returned, she reported the situation in the study.
Your Highness,
she added,
the prince was very angry. I saw Gardlin carrying several jars of wine inside. It seems the prince wants to drink himself into oblivion.
Hearing this, I remained completely indifferent. Let him be, since he wants to marry Sha Yuhe. He will come to find me sooner or later. I remember that in my past life, on every 28th of the 3rd lunar month, Lu Yan would never visit any of his consort's quarters, not even Sha Yuhe. I didn't know what special significance that day held. But to Lu Yan, it was indeed of extraordinary significance. Right at this moment, Lu Yan broke into my chamber, completely drunk. He recklessly bypassed the screen, and upon seeing the scene before him, a hint of panic flashed in his eyes. Yet, his gaze could hardly move away from the woman in front of him. The woman before him was breathtakingly beautiful. I was greatly startled and hastily pulled a thin quilt over myself to cover up, but my covering was so sparse, it was as if I weren't covered at all. Biting my red lip, I feigned anger. Why didn't the prince knock before entering?
This is Lanua Pavilion, right? This is my bedchamber, isn't it? All of this belongs to this prince. My things. I am entering my own bedchamber. Why should I knock?
As he spoke, he made his way toward the bed. Immediately after, he lunged toward me. I had no intention of avoiding him. The next second, his arms were filled with a soft warmth, and he pinned me directly beneath him. My delicate brows furrowed, my eyes filled with utter disbelief. It turned out Lu Yan was so adorable when drunk. Who would have thought he would become the iron-fisted, cold-blooded emperor of the great Zhou dynasty? My fingers slowly caressed his cheek, and I asked softly, "Why did your highness drink so much wine?"
Ah, this prince didn't drink much. He.
Lu Yan, oh Lu Yan, do you really love Sha Yuhe that much? Your Highness, look closely. I am in Zixuan, not Miss Xia. He suddenly remembered that he seemed to have something to discuss with me. He said nonsensically,
Then let it be tomorrow.
I knew what he wanted to say, to let Xia Yuhe enter the household tomorrow. But tomorrow is my 3rd-day return visit to my parental home. For a woman, how incredibly important that is. He didn't care about it in the slightest. This could only mean one thing. He didn't care about me, his official princess consort, at all. Seeing his eyes closed as if he were heavily intoxicated, I thought to myself, just how much did he drink? He must have practically soaked himself in the wine jars. A flash of coldness crossed my eyes. Since that is the case, then don't blame this consort. Chunlan, Chuju, come in and give me a hand. The maids came in, and seeing the intimate posture of the two, they squeezed their eyes shut in embarrassment. I cannot put weight on my foot. Hurry and help me, support him, and push him onto the bed. Together, they managed to arrange Lu Yan properly and took off his brocade robe, shoes, and socks. I was panting from exhaustion. I dismissed the maids and quietly lay down beside Lu Yan. After a busy day, I was truly exhausted. I had no energy to seduce a drunkard and fell fast asleep. A sleepless night for some, but both of us slept soundly. When I woke up the next day, I found myself in Lu Yan's arms again, recalling that I had used a bit of sleeping incense on him last night. A smug, cold smile curled up the corners of my lips. Sha Yuhe, in this lifetime, you can just take your time waiting. Just as I was about to reach out and touch the bridge of his nose, he suddenly moved as if he were about to wake up. I quickly closed my eyes and pretended to be fast asleep, but he suddenly rolled over, draping a long leg over mine, which happened to press right against my ankle. This consort is not Miss Sia. Look a little closer. He was awakened by my delicate cry. Opening his eyes, he saw the person he was holding in his arms. Images of him bursting into the room last night flashed through his mind. He only felt a splitting headache. Unable to remember what happened after he pinned me down, seeing that his own clothes had been removed and that the two of them were in such an intimate state, he abruptly pushed me away. Immediately after, only the sound of soft weeping could be heard by his ears. He saw the woman curled up delicately to one side, her eyes brimming with tears, looking as though she had been mistreated. As if realizing something, he felt as though he had been struck by lightning. He leaped out of bed, instantly wide awake.
We didn't. Why are you crying again? I didn't do anything to you, did I?
Your Highness pressed on this consort's foot. It truly hurts so much. I couldn't help but cry. Today, this consort must return to my parental home. With my foot injured like this, I was afraid my mother would worry. I directly proposed returning to my parents' home. He let out a sigh of relief. So, nothing had happened between him and her. She was only crying because he had pressed on her foot. He had witnessed my fragility yesterday. I couldn't bear even a little bit of pain. He confirmed once again.
This prince was drunk last night. And I don't remember much.
Your Highness slept like a pig and wouldn't wake up no matter how I called. You held me and kept calling out Yuhai's name. Your Highness must have mistaken me for Miss Xia. I couldn't break free no matter how I tried. As for your Highness's clothes, I had to call the maids in to help take them off. They reeked of alcohol, so the maids took them to be washed. In the end, I was simply too exhausted, so I slept beside your Highness. My face was full of sincerity, as if deeply afraid he would misunderstand. Rest assured, Your Highness, we each kept to our own side, slept until dawn, and nothing happened at all. We are completely innocent.
I am sorry.
And Zixuan had done nothing wrong, yet he had treated her this way. I wanted to make Lu Yan feel guilty, holding his lawful wife, yet calling out another woman's name. There is no need to apologize, Your Highness. Your Highness is a true gentleman, and did nothing out of line. It is just that today is my day to return home. My father and mother must be waiting for us at home. He seemed to remember something. Today happened to be the day he had agreed to marry Yuhi and bring her over. Last night, he had come to discuss this very matter with me. He had promised to go to the Xia Manor to fetch Yuhi.
Is it absolutely necessary to return home today?
He asked this question. As expected, he still wanted to fetch Xia Yuhei first. When a woman marries, she must have a homecoming ceremony. If the husband does not accompany his wife on her homecoming, that woman will never be able to hold her head up again.
Is it that serious?
He did not understand these customs very well. Your Highness, I have said before, I will not interfere between you and Miss Xia. I only ask Your Highness to give the An family some dignity. I am only taking up a tiny bit of Your Highness's time.
I meant that your foot is injured, so it is inconvenient.
Even if my leg were broken, I would still crawl back. I averted my eyes, refusing to look at him.
Let it be so then. Why are you angry?
I changed my expression quickly, staring at him in a daze. Does Your Highness mean you will accompany me back to meet my parents? If Your Highness can go, they will surely be very happy. My face was covered in tear stains, yet it was also bright with a smile. My perfect figure was like a finely carved work of art. My snow-white skin, under the morning light, looked even more delicate and moving. For a moment, he was captivated, unable to resist being enchanted. Lured by her beauty, Lu Yan nodded.
This prince will go back with you.
Thank you, Your Highness. With a pleasing demeanor, I curtsied to him. Chunlan, Chuju, Nanny Shi. Prepare an extra portion of breakfast and bring water for my toilet. Today, we are returning to the An Manor. I miss my father and mother so much. Speaking of returning to the An family and my parents, my delicate face was filled with a bright smile, my eyes sparkling with brilliant light, radiating happiness all over, as cheerful as a bird in the forest. When the two of them finished dressing and appeared before each other, both of them were momentarily stunned in unison. As the first light of dawn appeared, wisps of rosy clouds from the horizon scattered down. The two standing in the courtyard looked like a celestial couple. Chuju brought up the exquisite meal, deliberately walking right between the two of them.
Your Highness, your ladyship. His eyes are completely glued to her, and he still claims he doesn't like my ladyship.
He quickly averted his gaze. He walked straight toward the pavilion. He was indeed hungry. Last night he had done nothing but drink. He hadn't eaten much of the dinner prepared by the housekeeper. The food on the table emitted a delicate aroma. It was as if his taste buds had been awakened. His stomach felt completely empty. Looking at it made him feel even hungrier.
This old servant prepared steamed osmanthus cake for the princess. The cake is soft and chewy. There is also silver thread bird's nest porridge. The porridge is thick but not greasy. It goes down smoothly. It nourishes the body and calms the mind. And a small piece of rose pastry, milk almond curd, is the princess's favorite. There is also a portion prepared for the prince.
He looked in the direction Nanny Shi was pointing. Every single item was very exquisite, but there were only 2 small pieces on each plate.
Is this what she calls preparing an extra portion? Could it be that in Zixuan usually only eats 1 piece of each food?
Please enjoy your meal, Your Highness. He nodded in response. Breakfast took half an hour. The two of them did not utter a single word the entire time. In the end, he only felt that he hadn't eaten his fill. Yet, he was too embarrassed to say anything. The meals made by the An family's people were indeed exquisite and delicious. They were perfect in color, aroma, and taste, leaving one wanting more. He wanted to eat more. The news that the prince was going to accompany the princess back to her family home spread throughout the prince's manor. Housekeeper Chung quickly selected some return visit gifts from the storehouse.
These were to be sent to the Inn Manor.
In response to Your Highness, yes.
He frowned and asked again.
Is the return visit very important? Does it need to be done grandly?
The return visit is the final ceremony of the grand wedding. It is of no small consequence. It is especially important for the bride's family. As for how important it is, it cannot be explained in just a sentence or two. In short, the son-in-law accompanies his newlywed wife, carrying gifts to pay respects to his father-in-law and mother-in-law. This is proper etiquette. Whether the return visit gifts are well prepared or not reflects whether the lady married well and whether she is valued by her husband. Ordinary families value this very much, and wealthy families care even more about their dignity. However, Your Highness's status is noble, so there is naturally no need to bow to a junior tutor. That Your Highness is willing to go is their family's good fortune.
He fell into deep thought for a moment, then glanced at the return visit gifts prepared by housekeeper Chung.
Go to the storehouse and fetch some more items.
Chung Jong had originally just casually inspected a few items, merely to go through the motions. It would do no harm to fetch some more, according to the standards of a princess.
Housekeeper Chung, have someone ask who is in the princess's family and what their interests and hobbies are. According to their preferences, select another gift for each person individually.
Hearing this, housekeeper Chung was instantly stunned, giving another gift to each person.
Could it be that I, the prince, cannot afford it?
Although the Prince of Chu's manor was not heavily relied upon by the emperor, the Prince of Chu himself was, after all, a man with his own private property.
The Prince of Chu's manor naturally had its own wealth.
Liu Yan had slept in my bedroom for 2 consecutive nights. Housekeeper Cheng thought he must extremely favor this princess, so he only selected the best items when choosing the gifts. The Inn Manor was located on Yanglu Street in the north of the city, and Huai held the position of junior tutor at the Imperial Academy. He was also one of the many junior tutors at the Imperial Academy. Because of his effective teaching methods, outstanding moral character, and long tenure, he had been commended as an outstanding junior tutor multiple times. He was highly respected because today was the day the Princess of Chu returned to her family home, junior tutor, and was specially granted a day off. My mother had been unable to sleep since the early hours of last night and had started busying herself in the kitchen. The eldest daughter of the Yin family, and Rumeng, and her husband Jin Ji, had also arrived at the Yin Manor early in the morning. The entire Yin family was terrified of neglecting His Highness, the Prince of Chu. They were all dressed in their finest, having changed into new clothes, and were waiting with eager anticipation until a servant of the Inn Manor came running in a hurry.
They're here? They're here? The carriage convoy from the Prince of Chu's manor has reached the entrance of the alley.
Junior tutor and LED his wife, children, and elders to the main gate to welcome them. Only then did they see the carriage convoy of the Prince of Chu's manor slowly approaching from afar. It looked exceptionally grand. The carriage came to a halt in front of the inn estate. Steward Chung stepped forward, bowing to greet them, and ordered the prince's guards to unload the return gifts beside another luxurious carriage. Liu Yan was the first to step down. I slowly emerged, supported by my maid. seeing her son-in-law looking as elegant as a fine jade tree. Madam, and could not stop smiling. She was momentarily dazed by the sight. Junior tutor and quickly nudged his wife, signaling the rest of the family to bow with him.
This lower official pays respects to Prince Chu and the princess consort.
Seeing my parents bowing to me, my eyes welled with tears. I knew this was royal protocol, but seeing that I was about to cry again, Lu Yan said in a deep voice,
Father-in-law, mother-in-law, please rise.
The next second, he suddenly took me from my maid's arms, lifted me up horizontally, and explained,
The princess consort sprained her ankle at the palace yesterday. It is difficult for her to walk. I will carry her inside.
I had expected him to carry me down from the carriage, but I never expected him to address my parents as father-in-law and mother-in-law. I was momentarily dazed. After all, in my past life, he couldn't even be bothered to see them. The An family had enjoyed temporary glory because of me, yet they were despised by the world for a lifetime. The entire An family suffered greatly for it, all because the man I married did not love me.
Father-in-law, is there a place where we can rest? The princess consort's ankle is quite uncomfortable.
Please sit in the main hall.
And Huai glanced at my leg, his eyes filled with worry. Yet he did not overstep propriety to come closer and check. Father, there is no need to worry. The prince is making a mountain out of a molehill. Your daughter is actually fine now. And Huai gave his daughter a look, his eyes full of tender concern.
Dinner is about to be served. Ruan, keep the prince company first. I will go check on your mother and second sister.
Once we reached the main hall, he placed me gently on a chair, and only then did I speak in a soft voice. Thank you. He raised an eyebrow at me, leaned in close, and whispered,
Is this respectable enough for you?
My cheeks flushed slightly, and I lowered my head, looking exactly like a wife who shared a very harmonious relationship with the prince. My delicate face was painted with shyness, as if we were whispering sweet nothings. Yes, thank you. Thank you so very much. We had only known each other for 3 days, yet he had already heard me say, thank you, so many times. Was I really satisfied with just this? Just then, the fourth young master of the An family, and Jichin, walked toward us with a beaming smile.
Jichin pays respects to my brother-in-law, the prince. Greetings, third sister.
Immediately after, he bowed to Lu Yan once more.
Thank you for the gift, third brother-in-law.
He paused. The youth before him was 13 or 14 years old, sharing the same facial features as me. His smiling face looked wild and untamed, yet exceptionally handsome. He felt a bit awkward.
No need for thanks.
An inkstone made of purple Xuan jade cannot always be bought even with money. I will definitely cherish and treasure it.
And Jichin's eyes were filled with excitement, absolutely adoring the gift. Seeing that the gift he had prepared was so well received, he was also very happy in his heart.
Thank you for the generous gift, brother-in-law. The food is ready in the side hall. Please follow me.
The gift she received was a highly valuable set of jewelry from Qiyu Pavilion, and Rumeng's appearance was also top tier. Both sisters had inherited the beauty of their mother, Feng Jingyuan, and Rumeng was now 24 years old, and a mother of 2 children. Her figure had not lost its shape at all, making her look even more charming and graceful. Lu Yan had not only prepared jewelry for An Rumeng, but had also prepared toys for each of her 2 children. They were even the latest models on the market, which Steward Chung had naturally sent someone to buy at the last minute. And Rumeng's husband, Jin Ji, was a merchant. Lu Yan gifted him a golden abacus. The Jin family did not lack money, but a gift from a prince carried extraordinary significance. Naturally, he could not put it down. Seeing her daughter married so well, and receiving such affection from her husband, the mother wept tears of joy. Isn't our daughter doing very well? Mother, why are you crying again?
Mother is just truly happy. I am happy that Ruan has married her ideal husband.
And Rumeng was genuinely happy for her sister. She said in a low voice,
Originally, I thought my third sister would live under someone else's thumb after marrying into the Prince Chu's manor. Now it seems His Highness Prince Chu is not only exceptionally handsome, but also incredibly considerate.
I lowered my head to sip my soup, feigning shyness, while thinking to myself, they didn't know. In my past life, not only was there no home returning gift, but Lu Yan didn't even spare me a single glance. Prince Chu had personally welcomed side consort Sha through the gates. Dressed in a bright red wedding robe, I was summoned to drink the formal tea of the primary wife. While everyone pointed fingers and humiliated me, I became the biggest laughingstock in the entire capital. Watching them show their deep affection for each other, my heart bled. Seeing An's mother weeping softly, he thought to himself,
and Zixuan's habit of crying must have been inherited from her mother. Her mother seems very gentle and soft-spoken as well.
Your Highness is now the governor of the capital. This position is of no small importance. It is closely related to the lives of the common people and intimately connected.
Oh, and why? How much alcohol have you had? You're starting to lecture again. Our son-in-law is a prince. Doesn't he understand these principles better than you? Are you going to let everyone enjoy their meal?
Being yelled at, and Manhwa shut his mouth instantly.
This subject toasts Your Highness.
He was shocked and found it somewhat amusing. He hadn't expected junior preceptor and to be henpecked at home. Even less did he expect in Zixuan's mother to have such a sudden shift in emotions. He raised his wine cup and took a sip to cover his awkwardness. And Zichin had not been drinking. To break the awkward silence, he quickly changed the subject.
Prince brother-in-law, don't just drink, eat more. These dishes were all personally prepared by mother. They are all her specialties.
Jinji also spoke up, his voice filled with flattery, and Huai did not dare to utter a word after being yelled at, and quietly ate his food. That appearance was a far cry from his prestige and authority in the academy. The Yin family was full of harmony and joy. Lu Yan actually felt a bit of envy in his heart. Looking at the mountain of delicacies piled up in his bowl, he did not mind it at all, and began to eat heartily. These had all been placed in his bowl by Jinji using serving chopsticks. Seeing this, Jinji felt deeply flattered. Not only was he dining at the same table with His Highness Prince Chu and drinking from the same pot of wine, but the prince had also eaten the food he served him. What gave him the most pride was that His Highness Prince Chu was his brother-in-law. Lu Yan had never felt so relaxed. In his happiness, he drank a bit more wine. As for the Xia manor, he had also immediately sent a trusted aide to deliver the message that he would choose another auspicious day to marry her, and Zixuan had also promised that their wedding would be grand, and she would absolutely not let Xia Yuhi suffer the slightest grievance. Since Zixuan could do this, he felt she was very magnanimous, so he made a concession. Yuhi is an open-minded woman. She will surely understand. In the Xia manor, when Xia Yuhei heard the news that Prince Chu had accompanied the consort back to her family home, she seemed to freeze entirely.
A Yan clearly promised me. How could he go to the Yin manor? He clearly didn't care about Zixuan, and he promised to come and fetch me today.
On the bed lay the wedding robe he had helped her select. Originally, a side consort could only wear a pink wedding robe to enter the household, but he had insisted on giving her the most luxurious bridal attire in the entire capital, and the most grand and decent wedding. Only then did he spend a fortune to order a bright red wedding robe.
This is already the second time His Highness has broken his promise. Today is the day my lady is to be married. How could he just send a guard over, saying he cannot pick up the young mistress today, and that the wedding is postponed? Postponed to which day? As the young mistress of the Grand General's mansion, going from the primary consort to a side consort is already grievance enough. How can the prince treat you like this? She is merely the daughter of a minor junior preceptor. How can she compare to you, young mistress?
She barked at the maid. Get out. The maid said no more and left the room alone. To vent her anger on behalf of her mistress, she took it upon herself to report this matter to noble consort Xia. Her ladyship would surely stand up for her mistress. Xia Yuhe felt deeply sorrowful, her face covered in tears. She sat upright before the bronze mirror, staring intently at her own reflection. She believed she was very beautiful, not inferior to those delicate, sheltered ladies of Shengjing.
A Yan does not like such affected women.
But the scene of his wedding with Zixuan echoed in her mind. He had anxiously held Zixuan in his arms, and a look of awe and admiration had flashed in his eyes.
A Yan has never looked at me with such eyes. Isn't Zixuan really that beautiful? Can she be more beautiful than me? A Yan said, I am the most beautiful woman he has ever seen.
She encouraged herself with full confidence, wiping away her tears.
Even if she is beautiful, it is impossible for a Yan to like her. I should believe in a Yan.
She walked to the bedside and began to put on her wedding gown. The crimson wedding gown was magnificent and exquisite. She was completely captivated by it. What woman does not dream of marrying the man she loves? Moreover, they loved each other mutually.
When a Yan sees me like this, he will surely be amazed. He just hasn't seen me in my wedding gown yet. Today, I must marry into the Prince Chu mansion on Zixuan's home visiting day. I will never give Zixuan and A Yan another chance to be alone. The one A Yan loves is me, Sha Yuhi, not Zixuan. Go find Prince Chu and say yes.
Today, she wanted to let her see with her own eyes how much Lu Yan loved her. Meanwhile, inside the imperial palace, noble consort Xia received the message from the maid, Yingxing. She had not expected Zixuan to be so scheming as to actually make Prince Chu go to the inn mansion, leaving Yuhi to wait in vain alone.
This will not do. This consort must go plead with His Majesty again.
With that, noble consort Xia dressed up elaborately and came to the emperor's Chengchen palace. Stepping into the magnificent palace, noble consort Xia moved with light, graceful steps like a delicate flower in full bloom. She wore a splendid feather gown, soft as mist and ethereal as an immortal.
This consort pays respects to your majesty.
My dear, you are here. There are no outsiders here, so you may rise.
Your majesty has been busy with state affairs and has not visited this consort's Luanfeng palace for a long time. This consort misses you.
The emperor understood her intent and put his arm around her slender waist.
Your majesty, about the matter this consort mentioned to you last time. Yuhi loves Prince Chu. Please grant your imperial favor, if only to show some consideration for this consort. Please bestow Yuhi upon His Highness Prince Chu as a side consort. I beg your majesty to fulfill her wish.
Noble consort Xia had come the first time to ask for the position of primary consort, and the second time to ask for side consort. It was impossible for the emperor not to show consideration for the Xia family. He finally relented.
Then let the Imperial Astronomical Academy choose a date. My beloved consort, you may make the arrangements.
This consort thanks your majesty for your grace. Choosing a day is not as good as seizing the day. Today happens to be an auspicious day for marriage. This consort will see to it right away.
Having achieved her goal, she bowed respectfully to the emperor and left Chengchen Palace. The emperor knew the Xia family's intentions, so he summoned eunuch Cao again.
Where did Prince Chu go today?
Today is the day the princess consort of Chu visits her maiden home. His Highness should have accompanied the princess consort to the inn mansion.
This son of mine is quite capable.
Eunuch Cao did not dare to utter a single word, and instead ordered his disciple Wu Xin to bring in toiletries, personally attending to the emperor's washing. On the other side, the guards from the Xia manor arrived at the gates of the inn manor, claiming they were looking for Prince Chu and stating they had a letter to deliver to him personally.
Today is a day of celebration for our household. The master has ordered that we receive no guests.
The gatekeeper boy was about to close the door after speaking.
We are from General Xia's manor in the south of the city. I have an urgent matter for Prince Chu.
The guard spoke with a hint of arrogance. The gatekeeper boy was named Huan. He had been taken in by the inn manor since childhood, could read and write, and despised arrogant people the most. He also had a bit of a temper himself.
The Xia general's manor?
He only knew that today was the third young lady's return visit. No one is allowed to disturb them. Then he recalled the visitor mentioning they were from General Xia's manor in the south of the city. Wasn't that the very place he and Sister Chuju had visited? At that time, he had heard Sister Chuju mutter, "So Miss Xia is Prince Chu's lover." Could it be that the young lady of the Xia family wanted to send a letter to Prince Chu? He understood immediately. The gatekeeper boy first smiled at him and then said,
"Since it is for His Highness, I will go and report it now. Please wait a moment. Do you need me to pass the letter in your hand for you?"
No, there is no need. Once I see His Highness, I will hand it to him personally.
And Huan ran to my side with light steps.
Third young lady, someone has arrived at the gate. They say they are from General Xia's manor.
Xia Yuhe is truly impatient. To think she actually sent someone to my door. She is here. Is she so eager to marry Lu Yan? In her past life, she married into the Prince Chu manor in grand style as a side consort, becoming the one dearest to Lu Yan's heart. In this life, as Lu Yan delayed in going to her, the one dearest to his heart was bound to make a scene.
Princess consort Xia Yuhi has already packed her bags and gone to the 10-mile pavilion outside the city.
To put on this fine show, my expression remained calm.
Princess consort, noble consort Xia has received the emperor's decree of marriage and has left the palace.
I recall that in my past life noble consort Xia did not intervene in this. Lu Yan and Xia Yuhi were deeply in love, and the wedding was held with great pomp. However, it was not bestowed by imperial decree. When Xia Yuhe entered the Prince Chu manor, neither the emperor nor the empress acknowledged her, so naturally, she could not be entered into the imperial registry. After Lu Yan ascended the throne, he disregarded all propriety to crown her empress. But in this life, having obtained the emperor's approval, things will be vastly different. They have caught me off guard, whether it is because of the butterfly effect of my rebirth or for some other reason. In this life, I will never allow Xia Yuhe to marry into the Prince Chu manor in grand style.
His Highness is drunk. Should I add something extra to his drink? So he sleeps until tomorrow morning. If he wants to leave, let him go as far as possible. If His Highness does not go to her, let's see what she will do.
You must not do that. The one dearest to His Highness's heart is leaving. If he does not go to bring her back, it will be my fault as the princess consort. Besides, how could she willingly give up the wealth and honor within her grasp and just leave like that? Rather than letting them remain entangled and constantly yearning for each other, it is better to let them have a passionate love affair. Life is short. Let there be no regrets. I will never give Lu Yan the chance to settle scores with me later, and I must make him feel deeply grateful to me, yet utterly ashamed. Hearing her mistress's tone, Chunlan felt a cold sweat break out on her forehead, unable to comprehend her mistress's train of thought. Her husband was going to find another woman, yet is this how a wife should speak? Disregarding my difficulty in walking, I walked while asking, which guest room was His Highness taken to for rest? Prepare a carriage. Add 2 more fast horses.
The young lady insisted that I must deliver this letter to the prince in person.
My dearest Diane, I hope this letter finds you well. I am leaving.
After reading the letter, his face darkened and his heart felt completely empty. Yuhi, leaving forever, was nothing short of a bolt from the blue to him. Just then, I walked in carrying the hangover soup and said softly, "Your Highness, please drink the hangover soup first." His icy gaze held not a shred of warmth, and his entire being exuded a cold aura, utterly detached and unapproachable. He suddenly stood up and, with a flick of his hand, knocked the bowl from my grasp. The freshly brewed hangover soup was still quite hot. It spilled onto the fair, delicate skin on the back of my hand, which instantly turned red. I quickly hid my hand. Enduring the sharp pain, I was careless and spilled it. Chunlan, bring another bowl. Chunlan moved quickly, promptly ladling out another bowl and presenting it, clutching the back of my hand. I said softly, "Just give it directly to the prince." He had originally wanted to lose his temper, but seeing me like this, he merely glanced at my sleeve and said in a deep voice,
"Go back to the manor on your own. This prince has other matters to attend to."
I chased after him, my eyes filled with anxiety. "Your Highness, if it is an urgent matter. The estate has 2 swift steeds that can run 1,000 miles. Perhaps they can be of help to your Highness." He turned a deaf ear to my words, walking away in a great hurry.
My lord, has something major happened?
Find 2 fast horses to leave the city. Yuhi has left. She has returned to the frontier.
Lin Feng was completely bewildered. He turned around to glance at the princess. He saw that the princess consort also looked extremely anxious. He said,
Just now, the princess consort said, the estate has fast horses.
He paused for a moment, then nodded.
Let's go.
Only after he had left did my expression return to normal. I pulled back my sleeve to look at the scalded spot, my eyes full of charm, completely unbothered.
The prince is really too much. Why did he take his anger out on you, miss? What does any of this have to do with you? Your hand is all red from the burn.
My eyes remained calm and untroubled. Just applying some ointment will do.
The way the prince looked just now, one would think the heavens were falling or the earth was splitting open to make him so anxious.
The prince loves and hates with passion. It is only natural he would panic when the one closest to his heart is leaving. My heart did not stir in the slightest. I had let go of him long ago. Seeing Lu Yan acting so impulsively, I only found it amusing. Let us bid farewell to father and mother, and then return to the prince's manor.
If our young lady does not love the Prince of Chu, then why did she marry him?
Our lady's heart is not set on romance, but rather on the people of the world.
Neither of them could understand why Our Lady, at such a beautiful flower-like age, did not yearn for a beautiful love story. Tell Tan Wangqing that he can avenge his sister today. He may do whatever brings him satisfaction. Also, send word that the spies stationed at the Xia Manor can be withdrawn.
We are making our move early? Really? That corrupt official should have died a long time ago.
I was supposed to be the stumbling block on the path to Lu Yan and Sha Yuhe is happy ending, but in this lifetime, every single one of them will become my stepping stone. There is a temple of the earth god at the pavilion 10 miles outside the city. This was exactly where Lu Yan caught up with Sha Yuhe. Swept up in the passion of the moment, they used the earth god's temple to perform their wedding vows. It was Xia Yuhe's request.
Yan. Since I cannot bow and marry you in the open, then let us bow to the earth god.
Lu Yan hesitated at first, but he could not resist Sha Yuhe's bold and passionate gesture, and he knew he had broken his promise to her earlier today. The moment he saw her just now, the feeling of recovering what was lost made him cherish her like a rare treasure. In the end, he agreed to perform the marriage vows with her in the earth god temple.
Today is the happiest and most carefree day of my life. Since we have bowed to heaven and earth, we are husband and wife. I am your wife now. I am truly so happy.
He could not give her the position of formal wife, performing the marriage vows with her in private like this. He knew in his heart it was against proper etiquette, but Yuhe had a free-spirited nature and did not care about such minor details, so he went along with her. He looked at her with eyes full of doting affection. As long as it did not violate his conscience or morality, he would do his best to satisfy any request Yuhe made. She wrapped her arms around his waist and leaned into his chest. If this were their bridal chamber, shouldn't they proceed to? Her cheeks flushed a deep crimson. Lu Yan suddenly recalled the words Manhwa had cautioned him with at the banquet. He wanted to tell Yuhe that his status did not allow him to do this. He gently pushed her away and said in a low voice,
Yuhe, we must head back quickly. Actually, and Zixuan has already agreed.
Hearing my name, a flash of displeasure crossed Sha Yuhe's eyes. She raised her brows and interrupted him. He hesitated slightly, and my tearful face suddenly flashed through his mind.
Yuhe, I cannot promise what I cannot do. An imperial decree cannot be defied. She is indeed the princess consort of Chu. The marriage bestowed by His Majesty cannot be changed.
But I only want to be your wife. Haven't we already performed our marriage vows? Clearly, I met you first. The world is truly unfair. Why is it that she got to marry you first?
He was stunned. The one he clearly loved was Yuhe. Yet, he was forced to marry Zixuan. It was indeed unfair to Yuhe, who didn't even get a proper wedding because he couldn't give her the position of formal wife.
Yuhe, I am sorry.
In the future, as long as a Yan in your heart regards me as your only wife, that will be enough.
Seeing her compromise her own happiness like this, he held her tightly in his arms.
I don't want your apologies. I only want you to love me enough. In the future, she will merely be the princess consort of Chu, while I will be your wife, alright? Please don't like her, alright?
He nodded. His eyes grew dark and deep, like a cold, bottomless abyss, unfathomable. Sha Yuhe minded very much that Zixuan had become the princess consort of Chu, and she even began to spin conspiracies in her mind.
If she finds out about our marriage, she will definitely be displeased. She will try to stop us. Love is very selfish, and it cannot be shared.
She won't. She won't be displeased.
He answered with absolute certainty.
How do you know she won't?
If Zixuan wanted to stop them, she wouldn't have brought the messenger from the Xia family to see him. Lu Yan couldn't explain it, fearing she would overthink again. Just then, passers-by noticed the situation and came inside one after another to offer congratulations, hoping to get a cup of wedding wine. But the environment here was truly hard to describe. After offering a few words of blessing, everyone left. The news of a couple performing marriage vows at the Earth God Temple outside the city spread like wildfire and quickly reached the city. How could such a dashing young gentleman bow to heaven and earth in a Earth God Temple? Only those with no parents would bow to the earth god. A noble young lord dressed in such fine clothing. How could he possibly have no parents? He probably didn't dare to bring the girl home to meet his parents. I bet she is just a mistress. Even a mistress wouldn't bow to heaven and earth in an earth god temple. This is far too unfilial. Bowing to the earth god instead of one's own parents. Isn't that cursing one's parents to die? This is a grave act of unfilial piety. The guard Lin Feng stood watch outside the earth god temple, quietly hiding his sword away. He pretended not to know the two people inside the temple. He only felt deeply embarrassed. But guard Lin's gossiping heart was itching. He disguised himself as a passerby, pricking up his ears to listen to the passersby criticizing his master. After listening, he couldn't help but complain in his heart as well. What on earth is this? How could Miss Xia drag his master into an earth god temple to bow to heaven and earth? This is such a farce. Where does this leave the princess consort back at the estate? She doesn't even want to offer tea to the primary wife. This is simply against all propriety. She clearly did it on purpose, yet the prince just couldn't see through it. Yingxing squatted obediently to one side. Since it was all just an act anyway, she didn't take it to heart. Her heart and eyes were entirely focused on Lin Feng. Seeing someone looking at him, Lin Feng hurriedly avoided her gaze, only feeling a chill run down his spine. Noble consort Xia personally dispatched a ceremonial procession to the Xia estate. Today, she wanted Yu He to enter the Prince of Chu's estate with grand pomp and honor. As long as Lu Yan's heart was with Yu He would still have a chance to become the mistress of the estate. The prerequisite was that she had to legitimately become Lu Yan's woman first. Noble consort Xia, dressed in her finest attire, arrived at the Xia estate, but did not see Sha Yuhi. Only after asking the guards did she learn that Sha Yuhi had already packed her bags and headed out of the city. In the afternoon, Lu Yan brought Sha Yuhi back to the city. She was dressed in a bright red wedding gown, her face as radiant as peach blossoms. Sha Yuhi's wedding gown was too eye-catching, causing pedestrians on the road to turn their heads and stare repeatedly. Some whispered in discussion.
In broad daylight, which young lord has snatched away whose bride?
Don't you see that bride's smile is sweeter than flowers?
How does this look like a kidnapping? It is clearly a bride eloping with her man.
Lu Yan had excellent hearing. Hearing the whispers of others, his expression turned slightly cold, and his body became somewhat stiff and unnatural. Yuhi was holding his waist far too tightly. When he set out to catch up with Sha Yuhi, he had resolutely chosen to ride a horse. The horses from the estate were indeed fine steeds of 1,000 miles. In no time, he had found her at the Earth God Temple outside the city, but not having a carriage made things very awkward. Sha Yuhi spoke to him at length about the broad minds and sentiments of the grassland people. She felt their love was as free as the wind. Given the chance, she also wanted to take Lu Yan to travel the world outside and see the sights. Finally, they arrived at the gates of the Prince of Chu's estate. Lu Yan's entire face was as green as a vegetable leaf. However unpleasant the words of the people on the road were, that was how terrible his mood was. He dismounted from the horse, nearly dropping the reins. Sha Yuhi's face was full of happiness. She wouldn't be like in Zixuan, so delicate that she couldn't even get off a carriage. With a swing of her leg, she leaped down from the horse. She landed steadily and stood firm, looking heroic and spirited. She didn't care at all why the crowd of onlookers outside was growing larger. She only wanted the world to know she was the woman favored by His Highness, the Prince of Chu. And even more, she wanted to make me back down in the face of difficulties.